Hey folks, I'm Ian Baker, and today we're going to cover some RV basics, which is how to properly extend an RV slide out. So there are a few steps we have to do before we just extend the slide out. And the first couple you should do right as soon as you get to your campsite, and that is to level and then stabilize your RV. So to level the RV, if you're lucky enough to have auto level, well, it is just touch of a button generally. For the rest of us, you'll want to make sure you use blocks and put them underneath the tires to level the RV out. Once your RV is level, you'll then want to stabilize it by utilizing the stabilization jacks that come with your RV. Next thing we want to do is check our outside clearances around the slide just to make sure you're not going to hit anything like a tree that may be at the campsite. If you already know your measurement, great. If not, and because the slide is closed, you can obviously take that measurement from the inside, simply measure from the slide fascia to that inside wall, and then add about 6 to 8 inches just to have a little buffer room. A few quick safety precautions. One is when extending the slide out, please make sure that nobody is standing in front of the slide. Obviously, we don't want anyone to get injured. And then also make sure no one is standing or sitting in the slide when you're extending it, as that can cause damage to the motors. The next step is to come inside and check everything in and around the slide. We want to make sure that we don't have any chairs or other items. Cabinet doors are a very common one that can open up. And when you go to open your slide, it can damage your slide, the cabinet door, any other items that are caught between the slide and the wall. So make sure all those items are clear. You'll also want to make sure that you remove any slide out locks if you use them. The last thing we want to check before we open up the slide out is that the battery is fully charged. The slide outs run on 12 volt DC, and if your battery is depleted too far, you can have a couple issues. Things from the slide not opening at all to actually throwing off the motor or causing damage. So we want to make sure that battery is fully charged. If it is too far depleted and the slide won't open, that's when you'll want to actually take the 7-way plug and plug that into your tow vehicle, turn that tow vehicle on so you can utilize that to help open the slide. So with the preliminary steps and checks out of the way, now it's time to open the slide. So you simply find the slide button that is going to correlate with the slide you want to open. It may be a physical toggle switch like this. You may have a digital keypad. It all depends on your RV. But then you will simply push and hold the button and it will slide out. So how do you know when the slide is fully extended? Well, it depends on the slide type, and you're going to have to listen to a few auditory clues as well as look at the slide itself. So generally on most slides, your slide fascia will essentially meet the wall, or at least the seal will, so you can use that as a visual representation. The other thing you will listen for is on a cable slide as well as a hydraulic slide, you will hear a change in noise. So on the cable slides, it'll be the electronic motors will kind of whine a little bit less. On your hydraulic, it'll be your hydraulic pump that whines less. On an electric rack and pinion, you'll hear a very loud clicking sound, and so that's when you know when to release. And then a Schwinn Tech is actually a little bit different. That's going to be a special example. That'll be your worm gear driven type slide. With that, it's actually okay to hold the button. In fact, it is recommended to hold it for a few seconds after the slide is fully opened to help resync those motors back up. One of the other things I often see that you have to be particularly careful about is partially opening or closing the slide. A lot of people will stop overnight and they may have to open a slide out just a little bit to get to the bedroom and they will leave it open. The issue with that is that if it rains, your slide seals aren't working the way they're supposed to unless it is fully open or fully closed. So if you're going to open and close the slide, make sure you're all in, either full open or full close. Similarly to how we extend the slide, when we retract the slide, we want to make sure the slide is clear of any obstructions, both inside and outside. A key difference here though is you actually want to examine the top of the slide out outside, whether that is utilizing a ladder or if you have a fully walkable roof, climbing up on the roof. You see things like sticks and pine cones that get stuck on top of the slide. If you bring those into the slide seal, it can damage it, which can cause future leaks, which is obviously nothing you want to have happen. Once we make sure everything is free and clear, you can then come inside, push and hold the retract button, which will bring that slide in. And again, we're going to look and see on the outside when it makes contact with the wall, as well as listen for the auditory clues that I mentioned earlier. All right, and that is how you properly extend and retract a slide out on an RV. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe, you know the drill. Thanks again for watching, folks. I'm Ian Baker, and until next time, we'll see you.